Hey folks, Jimmy here, aka Pal Over Dead. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another issue of Mortal Realms magazine. This week is issue 31, but as per usual, if you like these videos, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you don't already, and drop a comment down below. I appreciate every comment I get, and I do try to reply to everybody as soon as I possibly can, no matter where you are in the world. It is greatly appreciated. Right, let's jump into it, shall we? So this week we have one of the models I've been banging on about the most, which is the LORD-EXORCIST. I'm really happy to get this model, and it is well worth the price of the magazine, because this model normally in the UK is £20 on its own. So if you're lucky and your local newsagent or anything like that has a couple of copies, why not get yourself two LORD-EXORCISTs? Get going with them. While I don't abide by scalping, and I do not appreciate scalpers, you could paint up two of these. You could have one for your main army and you can have one as a display piece, or you could just field two LORD-EXORCISTs. Why not? Who's going to really argue with you if it's well within your points range for an army or anything like that? But this model is going to be really good fun to do, and I'm looking forward to doing a painting video on this. And by the end of it, it should look like that, although mine won't quite look like it because it'll be the colours of the lines of a Sigmar as well. Anyway, jumping into the issue itself, we're greeted by a page detailing what the LORD-EXORCIST carries with him. So from that redemption stave to capturing an errant soul into the Redemptor casket, it'll have it be judged by them soul scales on top, and the tome of exorcism that the LORD-EXORCIST kind of carries around with it, that is inscribed with Azurite spells, powerful spells that he can use to trap these souls and to draw away and banish any demons and stuff like that as well. And of course they have the anvil icons there to represent the anvil of Apotheosis as well. On the other page, so you have a bit more detail of what they can do. So of course they carry that tome of exorcism. So the tome contains the words and incantations required to banish demons and exorcise geists. So banishment, the curse board of the dark gods rightly feared the LORD-EXORCIST. For these celestial priests have spent countless hours studying the spells and incantations required to banish demons. By uttering carefully selected words of power, they are capable of obliterating the form of a demon and casting what remains of its essence into the ether. And of course they can do the same type of thing with ghosts, so they can exorcise ghosts, which will destroy the incorporeal forces that the ghosts and geists are made of. So the Nighthaunt can fear them as well, so they are really cool and quite nice to look at, and it is it's a lovely model. I'm happy to finally have one of these, and they are very nice, of course. So what is a LORD-EXORCIST? So a LORD-EXORCIST were holy men in their former lives, able to perform miracles and holy rites a long time before they came to the notice of Sigmar. They use these powers to fight the enemies of order. Since being reforged, these powers have increased tenfold, and now they can destroy demons and geists with carefully intoned words of power. By slamming the heel of their redemption stave upon the ground, they send out a wave of energy that can banish a soul and cast it into the wilderness. So, as you can tell from that, they are ultra powerful wizards. They are definitely among the top wizards that you can get in the Stormcast Eternal armies, and they have a great power that they can use to kind of turn the tide of the battle in theory as well. Then we've got part 3 of Magic in the Mortal Realms. So celestial magic and gold magic is listed on this page. So the chronomatic cogs are a series of gears given shape and placed in perfect order by the magic of Azir. Together they form a complex mechanism through which the passage of time can be accelerated or brought to a grinding halt.
So, Chronomatic Cogs are one of the endless spells that can be used and purchased from the Malign Portents range, so you can have it nipping around and kind of being a pain in the ass for everybody else. You got the Quicksilver Core swords, when I can learn to speak, forged from the gold magic of Shaman. The Quicksilver swords slice through the air as they fly towards their target, piercing armor, scale, and flesh. So, when the quarry for the Quicksilver swords is dead, they immediately seek new prey. So another ender spell, which is kind of like represented in model form as a kind of like a cloud of swords, which I'll display on screen. And then you've got a couple of other bits as well. So you've got the Burning Head, which is a skull, a flaming skull essentially, which is created from the magical fires of Akshi, which ignites flesh, bone, and even emotions as it scorches across the battlefield. Then you've got Ravennak's Gnashing Jaws, eternally hungry and predatory spell known as Ravennak's Gnashing Jaws, streaks through the sky searching for victims. Once called into existence, the jaws will hunt down and devour any living creature they can catch. So these ones are your amber and your bright magic from Gur and Akshi, of course. So yeah, a bit different and a bit more magic that you can incorporate into pretty much everything if you wish to as well. So you've got your gluing kind of details as well there for everything. So, and how to build your Lord Exorcist. Follow the instructions on this one. It's going to be a little bit tougher. It's not going to be as easy because some parts are finicky. I mean, just that top bit. Up to you how you want to paint it. I personally will probably paint it in multiple parts because I like to get detail into every little nook and cranny without having to face any awkwardness, in all honesty, by having certain little bits in the way of other bits, which kind of frustrates me. Then you got your how to paint section. So if you are following the guide is very, very good. It is going to give you pretty much everything to get it going and get it pretty much tabletop ready in one fell swoop with this painting guide, from of course using Corax White and using your Retributor armor, Cantor Blue, Abaddon Black, Leadbelcher Corn Red, Ratcar Flesh, and the Feston Red and Dryad Bark, as well as your Agrax Earthshade and Nuln Oil. It will all come right when you've got everything going. I mean, if you're following that guide, it is going to look something like that, which actually looks pretty decent for that kind of paint scheme. You will literally have a couple little bits more paint to do in later issues, but otherwise it is pretty much done and ready to get going. So sometimes these guides are really, really handy for how you're painting and everything like that, so it can be very, very well done. Then you've got your war scroll for the Lord Exorcist as well, just on this page. So of course he has the abilities with the Redemptor Casket. So at the start of your shooting phase, roll a dice for each demon or Nighthaunt unit within 6 inches of this model. On a +4, on a 4+, that unit suffers 1 mortal wound. So if you are utilising the Lord Exorcist, if there are a handful of Nighthaunt, say chain rasps or anything like that, kind of in close proximity to it, within 6 inches, every 4+ roll will do a mortal wound to it. So it can be a very, very handy unit to have within your Stormcast army as well. So it is pretty good. They also have the ability of Purifying Blasts as well, which can be quite cool. So if you are using the Redemptor Casket, for instance, they'll do one, as I say, it'll do on a 4 or more, it will do 1 mortal wound. 4 or less, if it's below a 4, of course, no mortal wounds. So you can kill off a handful of units in one go sometimes with that kind of ability. Then you got the Purifying Blast as well, just on there as well, so you can cast a few more and kind of get a bit more destruction towards things as well, so, and a bit more damage towards opponents, especially if playing it as demons or death or anything like that as well. So pretty handy to have. Then we've got the expanded war scroll for the Guardian of Souls with his Nightmare Lantern, which will give some more of his abilities. So that Spectral Lure, which is from the lantern itself. They have a Chill Blade and a Maul of Judgment. They can fly as well because, of course, they are a ghost and not bound by the laws of physics. And then the details of how to use the Nightmare Lantern and the Spectral Lure in gameplay as well. Your battle plan is expanded as well, so it is tutorializing everything, so how to set up your armies, whether you go through territories, setting up units, and a couple of other bits as well, using things like objectives as well. So it's always fun, so you can have an objective in the middle, or you can have multiple objectives if you want to, or you can just have two versions of territory. It's entirely up to you. You just need to make sure that you have set the game rules before you start playing. Then your battle plan is still on Gyron, of course, so it's a 12th one in Gyron, which is Spied from the Thicket. So, and this will set you kind of going as per usual with your main bits on there on the main kind of battle mat, and having an objector, which you have some objective markers that you can cut out from the back page of the magazine as well if you wish to use them, or you can kind of create your own objective marker. Some people use a die, which they might super glue onto a base in a certain way if they're going to use multiple objectives in a game. Some people like to do that, and they can then make it look a bit different if they wish to. So your choice. Then we can move on to next week. So next week we get skulls, so we can start decorating bases a little bit differently using all the different skulls that we're going to get. So you'll get a load of skulls. You get around about 100 if I remember rightly, or it might be more. I might be completely wrong on that. It might be more than 100. But very, very handy to have. And yeah, should keep us going for a bit longer and get them bases looking a bit nicer and a bit cooler. Then in issue 33 we get Sterling Mud and we get a texture tool, both very, very handy to have. If you're buying Sterling Mud on its own though, it can be a bit expensive. What I would recommend is actually going for Vallejo's Diorama Effects ground texture. Does exactly the same job, but it dries kind of cream coloured, but you can paint over the top of it once it's all dry, but it does exactly the same job as Sterling Mud. You get a lot more of it, and it's only about £1 more expensive than Sterling Mud is on average, but you get probably about 4 times the amount that you would in a Sterling pot. Anyway, that's it for this week. There will be a painting video on the good old Lord-Exorcist here as well, coming very, very soon, and some other painting videos as well that I have in mind. Thank you very, very much for watching. I will catch you next week, and yeah, don't forget to drop a comment down below. Bye bye now.